Hey everyone, welcome back to PokeMarketLab. Today we're doing a little bit of a market update on Fusion Strike. Certainly one of the best sets in the Sword and Shield era, so I thought it'd be great to look back at it and see how it's doing and performing in the bull run. You know, everyone's talking about Scarlet and Violet today, but there's actually quite a bit of action now happening back in Sword and Shield now that Scarlet and Violet prices have started to go up here. So with that, let's get into it. So this set was originally released back in October of 2021, so it's got quite a bit of age on it now. Booster Box is doing very well, but certainly stagnating a little bit as we headed into the summer of 2024 here when the shift in the market focused on Scarlet and Violet. And a lot of Sword and Shield boxes, except maybe Evolving Skies, kind of got left in the dust. You can see on the chart here, it was quite flat for a period of time, but it's actually it's still done pretty well in the last year with a 65% gain in the last 12 months. But it's certainly starting to get some more attention now. We've seen that market price start to climb over the $300 mark now. And these boxes are drawing up too. There's only 75 listed on TCG player. So certainly a fantastic booster box. Love the art on the booster box with that Mew and that Gengar. And yeah, these for sure are going to continue to climb here as they just start to dry up. And again, you know, you get $200 Surging Sparks booster boxes. So, you know, the calculus may be, well, for $100 more, I can get a box of Fusion Strike. It's got quite a bit of age on it comparatively. So just something to think about. And looking at the total value of cards instead, I like to look at this just to see, I like to look at this in conjunction with the value distribution, just to kind of get a stack as to, you know, how much oomph a set has. It doesn't tell the whole picture, but I think it helps. Actually, Chilling Reign, I was surprised is pulling ahead here a little bit versus Fusion Strike. So obviously Evolving Skies is doing Evolving Skies things. Chilling Reign holding really well, but the box prices are but, you know, I think they're about $75 less than Fusion Strike on TCG player. Chilling Reign kind of got the brunt of a bit of a reprint there at one point during the Sword and Shield run. So yeah, still solid set value for Fusion Strike, but just not holding a candle to Evolving Skies. Looking at some of the top cards in the set, from a visual standpoint, I think it certainly stands out in the Sword and Shield era. Specifically, that Gengar card in the top value spot. There's a reason it's in that spot. It just stands out. There's like really off the top of my head, I can't think of anything like it in Sword and Shield. It's beautiful in person. If you haven't seen one in person, it's really different. The foiling on it is very unique. We have that Mew VMAX there as well. The Espeon, not my favorite, but that Mew VMAX is a really beautiful card. And just again, I think Fusion definitely separates itself from the rest of the pack in Sword and Shield for sure. And I think the artwork's a lot more modern than Chilling Reign. I think the Chilling Reign art, especially that Blaziken, just looks very childish, very cartoonish, and not that that's always a bad thing. We certainly have a little bit of that in Fusion Strike, but I think the Gengar is definitely a much better card, I think, for sure. And looking at the value distribution here, that Gengar is way up there. It's run up quite a bit recently. I was kicking myself recently because I saw it at a local card store. It was fairly expensive at the time, but just knowing, you know, how things were going to play out here, I probably should have picked one up. But yeah, value distribution is pretty good here. We got multiple chase cards in the three-figure range, which I think is important. And then after that, it does drop off a little bit, but you still, you know, you got plenty of $50 and $60 cards, which I think is really important for a set. What I don't like to have is a set that has one chase card and then it drops off really quickly from there. I don't think that's enough to really hold up a set from a long-term standpoint. Even in Evolving Skies, there's other cards in some of those really high dollar value sets. Obviously not the same as Moonbreon, but it's not necessarily a Moonbreon or bust in terms of value. It is if you're paying $100,000 a box, but in terms of like the quality of what you're opening, it's not. And looking at individual cards here in the top spots in the set, they're all up. Every single one of the top 6 cards we're looking at here is up in the last month here. Gengar VMAX, a beautiful 33% return, sitting at that $500 market price. The Espeon VMAX at a $230 market price, 16% gain in the last month. And this Mew VMAX, absolutely beautiful. Again, 30% return in the last month, sitting at the $100 spot. So that's recently, you know, brought up the number of triple-digit cards to 3 here. And I think this just is a sign that there is more money pouring into Sword and Shield than we've seen in the last 6 months. So I think in the future here we're going to start seeing some of that value, some of that monetary value, both from a collecting and investing standpoint, start to bounce around between Sword and Shield and Scarlet and Violet. Taking a look at those next three cards, like the Mew V, Max, and Celebi. Again, all of them up here. The Mew V is up 43% in the last month. Again, these are all near mint listings. Mew V Max, nice 15% return in the last month, sitting at $43 market price. And then same thing for the Celebi here, up 41% in the last month. I just wanted to go back to the top three here. The number of listings for these cards is extremely shallow as well. There's only 17 Gengars listed at the $500 price point here on TCG Player. And so that's huge. Typically what happens when a card runs up in value like this that quickly, and a 33% gain on a $500 card is quite a bit, especially within a month. That tends to draw in a lot of sellers into the market, right? They can make quite a bit of money on a card like that. That's a lot of money to be able to liquidate out of a collection, but we're not seeing that. We're seeing people hold on to it. It's a gorgeous card. It's a keeper for a collection, and there's only 17 available. Same with the Mew V Max over there. There's only 16 available. So there's no reason that there's not potentially here for some of these cards to continue to rise in value. And Moonbreon's gonna always hold. I can't see a future where the Moonbreon from Evolving Skies doesn't hold the top spot in the entire Sword and Shield era. But I think that Gengar is gonna be second slot. I think it's definitely heading towards that. And I think, you know, the consensus, what I'm trying to build here from a picture standpoint and narrative standpoint, is that, you know, Fusion Strike, I think, is really starting to solidify itself as the second running for that second spot here in the Sword and Shield era. It was kind of a race between Chilling, Fusion Strike, and Lost Origin. Me personally, my subjective view of the card artwork is that Fusion Strike is that second place leader, and I think it's the price is starting to get some traction towards that. It's not blowing out Lost Origin and Chilling Reign, but it's starting to climb and race and put a gap there between those other two. Yeah, so that's kind of our view here of Fusion Strike. It's a fantastic set. It's absolutely, I would guess it's going to pull ahead from the rest of the pack and really solidify itself as that second place winner in the Sword and Shield era. And the question really now is, from a box standpoint, what kind of price target can we put on this? And I think if the bull market continues, especially in Scarlet and Violet, things like Surging Sparks, Prismatics coming out, we have a Team Rocket set coming out. If some of those starts to run up in value, again, from a collector and investor standpoint, we want really good products at prices that have upside potential. And I think the only thing that's going to stop, you know, people from looking at Fusion Strike from that standpoint is just if that price gets too high, if people perceive it to be too high. But there's not many boxes on the market, right? If I'm looking at Scarlet and Violet, there's the volume that's available, and the potential for reprint is something that you need to consider. That's a downside for that kind of product. There's a lot more upside potential there, but it may take longer to capitalize on that. Whereas Fusion Strike is quite old now. You got 3 years on this product. It's drying up. There's never going to be more Fusion Strike boxes than there are today. They're not going back and reprinting these. We have not seen even ETBs hit the market. We've seen some other ETBs look like they got reprinted recently from Sword and Shield, like Brilliant Stars and Astral Radiance. I don't think there's a risk here in Fusion Strikes. I think it's well protected from that standpoint. And I think 300, given the Gengar is over 500 now, and there's other cards triple digit as well, I think 300 is actually a fairly affordable price for this. And I still think there's quite a bit of upside potential. I could easily envision a future where this is a $500 box. And I think that could actually happen in the next year or so. And that's kind of my price target, between 400 and 500 for this box in the next year. I don't think that's unreasonable. Again, the caveat is, of course, you know, any exogenous market events, economy events, things of that nature. But if the market continues, even if it levels out a little bit here, I think that's completely reasonable. I do think it'll hold on to that second spot as a second place leader in Sword and Shield. So, and that's it for this one. Let me know what you think in the comments below. If you like what we're doing here, please like, comment, and subscribe. We really appreciate it. And with that, we'll see you on the next one.